Hi, good evening everyone. Welcome to the session on tones. I hope you all can see me and I'm visible to all. I hope you all can hear me. Okay. So this session on tones basically has been planned and designed sorry 1 minute, I think I ended. Hi, sorry, welcome back guys. I think there was some technical glitch. Now we are back live in the RC tone session. So this session I have planned mainly keeping in mind the fact that a tone of an RC is a very tricky concept, and I see lots of incorrect videos on tones on YouTube. My video is also on YouTube, but I hope to set the record straight and get the tones concept clear and taught it correctly to all of you and teach it correctly to all of you. So please follow this, and then I will of course take up questions in the classrooms as and when you come across the tones. But do not learn tones from invalidated videos. So this is there on YouTube now for anyone and everyone who wishes to learn what tones are, right? And stay away from all the incorrect gyan on tones and RCs that you get online. So let's begin with this. Now, when a tone question is asked, What is it that it aims to teach? A tone question basically is asked to see whether you understand the attitude of the author through what the author has written towards the passage and what is it that the author is addressing. Now please note that a tone question is not just to be answered through a tone question. When you are solving a central theme question also, you cannot get the correct central theme unless you get the correct tone, right? You cannot get the correct central theme unless you get the correct tone. So tone is a part of the theme. It is ingrained in the theme. So questions on central theme would say that the author is describing this, let's say the Indian freedom movement, or the author is critiquing the Indian freedom movement. Yeah, the author is, analyzing the Indian freedom movement, describing, critiquing, analyzing. All these are nothing but tones. So how will you answer these tones, and how will you answer the central theme unless you understand these tones? So it's a part and parcel of a central theme question, and whether asked or not, you are working on tones throughout the RC. So you must have seen words for tones like critical, optimistic, cynical, sanguine, outraged, or you must have seen these terms in the other questions on theme. The author is outraged, or the author talks about the outrageous movement of the government, or the author is is describing something. So description and any of these adjectives, when they are a part of central theme, it is nothing but the tone incorporated in the theme. Now, what the good thing about spoken language is that the tone can be understood through voice modulation, right? When you hear a speech, you can understand whether the author is hopeful or whether the speaker is optimistic, pessimistic, criticizing, praising, through the voice modulation. So in spoken language, intonation and modulation helps us. But in written language, we have to identify the same set of words through how the author has written, and what are those keywords. That is what we are going to discuss. Now there are two types of tones that we can broadly divide. One is where the author's opinion is used, and the other is where the author refrains from opining. That means the author is just being a neutral person, not using any opinion in the tones. I mean, not using any opinion in the passage. So without the opinion of the author, this is a neutral passage. Now it's very interesting that, there is a school of thought which believes that nothing is neutral. What the author chooses to talk about and what the author chooses to not talk about means that the author's signature is there. All that is correct. But while writing, has the author distanced herself from the subject? Yes, then that tone is, the subjective tone is missing. Then it is only objective tone. Right? So wherever the author's opinion, I like the glorious structure, this is opinion. If there is no opinion, just facts are collated, then it is objective. So this is the first category. Now we can divide it into further subcategories based on how the author has dealt with the subject, right? Now, the tone can be argumentative, analytical, descriptive, explanatory, narrative, discursive. So what are the differences in these tones? So I'll quickly cover these, and I will take up questions, as I said, through questions and doubts in the classroom. Argumentative tone basically means that the subject matter has clear two sides. Maybe the author is not presenting both the sides, but if the author is presenting her side and referring to the other side, then this tone is argumentative. So it's not necessary that in an argumentative tone there has to be two sides have to be presented. As I said, the tones classes that I see online are shocking, so I don't know what is being taught in the classroom also. So please understand that in argumentative tone, the subject matter is such, number one, that contributes to the tone. It should have clear two sides, and even if the author is presenting one side and referring to the other side in her presentation, then it is argumentative tone. Now, argumentative is different from analytical. In analytical, the author opens a discussion and describes in detail, analyzes each and every aspect of the topic. How is analytical different from descriptive? In descriptive, the author simply states facts about the subject matter, whereas in analytical, the author states facts but also includes other opinions or what others have to say about this matter. Also, the topic for descriptive tone as well as analytical tone are different. Descriptive tones are on subject matters that are widely known, whereas analytical tone is basically for a subject matter which needs more discussion, where different people may have different things to say about it. So in analytical tone, facts are stated, yes, but the author brings in other opinions and other expert views also into it. So you see many voices in this passage. So descriptive, I have already stated. Explanatory means that the author gives a thesis or a hypothesis of a phenomenon. Probably the author describes, let's not keep using the word describes, probably the author has a theory on something and the author is trying to sell us that theory. Then that tone is explanatory. Maybe the author has the theory on demonetization, or the author has some theory on what is going to happen in Russia and Ukraine. That is then explanatory. So the author's theory would probably describe why certain things are taking place, why certain other things are not taking place, and the author will probably go into reasons. So whenever the author gives reasons of a phenomenon, or whenever the author tries to showcase a phenomenon from her point of view, then that is explanatory. Narrative means storytelling. Narrative means storytelling. Storytelling basically is, a tone where the subject matter moves in time. So storytelling means that in a narrative tone, the author will say, first this happened, then this happened, then this happened. That is narrative. Right? What happened next, what happened next. So narrative has to move in time. Descriptive, please remember, books that you read can be both descriptive, narrative, analytical. A novel can have various tones, right? So description would be where the story has paused and the author is describing the room or the lawn. But then when the story moves and the author tells you what happened next, so that movement is narrative. Narration means what happened next, what happened next, that. So that would be a narrative tone. Discursive can be confused with analytical because you need to really know your tones to understand how discursive and analytical will be different. Because in discursive tone also the author will analyze the subject. But in the discursive tone, the author will engage the audience. the author will engage the audience. In a discursive tone, the author will write in a manner such that the audience feels that the author is addressing them directly. So many blogs are written in a discursive tone, right? Because in a discursive tone, the author wants to initiate a discussion. The author does not want to make it one-sided. So many blogs are written in a discursive tone. I hope you have got this set of tones, everyone. So I have categorized tones in another format, which is positive tones versus negative tones. What are positive tones? Positive tones are those that bring in either hope or appreciation. So where the author appreciates, these are the words that can describe, right? Laudatory, appreciating, extolling. Where the author is hopeful, these are the words that can describe it. Optimistic, sanguine. If it is a speech, then motivating people, the tones could be hortatory, encouraging, motivating. If it is witty or comical, these are the tones that you will use, right? Witty and comical. This could also be anecdotal or narrative. So the tone could be comical as well as narrative because it is a comical narration of what happened, sequence of events. Or the tone could be jocular and narrative because the author describes what happened next and it is a funny incident. Now, between appreciation and respect, you can check keywords. If it is appreciation where the author approves and says this is a good thing, it will be appreciation. But where the author talks about that person with respect, and it's where there is no approval, but the author shows awe. Awe means reverence. Then, of course, it changes from appreciation to respect, where probably the author talks about something which the author states in the beginning is important, or the author says this is a person I've looked up to, right? This is a person that everyone follows. That appreciation now turns to respect. So these are all the words. I'll give you 2 minutes to note down these tones. Great. Since we did positive tones, now let's also take up negative tones. Now, naturally, if the author is criticizing, then your tone will be pessimistic, negative, disapproving. All these are same. The slight difference would be that if it is only criticism, you will say negative or disapproving, right? But if it is criticism and the author refers to the future also with negativity, this tone will change to pessimistic or cynical or skeptical. Other words for a hopeless future are foreboding and ominous, where the author will be severely negative and severely hopeless, right? So pessimistic, cynical, skeptical means there is a reference to the future. Usually it will be in the end after a round of criticism. So wherever the reference to the future comes in, criticism will change to pessimism or cynicism or skepticism. I have written the word critical here to show you critical does not mean criticism. Critical tone means that the author is analyzing and also talking about the good and the bad points. I think I have not seen anyone use critical tone correctly in coaching institutes. Critical does not mean criticism, so this does not belong here. I have written it here so that I catch your attention. Criticism, you can have various words: disapproving, censuring, right? Denigrating. But critical means not an analytical, plus the author gives both good and bad points. So critical means it is a mixture of an analytical tone plus the author's opinion in the end, whether that thing had good points, bad points. Usually both are given. Where do you find critical tone? Critical tone is found in reviews, book review, film review. All reviews have a critical tone. Critical means critiquing. Critiquing means discussing both good and bad points. If you understand this, give me a thumbs up in the chat box. Argumentative does not mean good and bad points. Argumentative means that a topic has two sides. I explained to you. Topic is such that it has two sides, and the author may even discuss just one side but refers to the other side. That would be argumentative. So critical, I hope everyone has understood, and at least all our students at Possible know what critical tone is. Great. So now, congratulations, you are 0.01% of the test taking world that knows the meaning of the tone critical. Of course, if it is, describing horror, for example, in one of our mocks, we had given this poem on the Raven. In other mock also, we gave a Stephen King's short story. So that is horror or threatening or minatory. So since, most sometimes in your exams you get literature text, right? So if it is a horror or a story where, it's describing eerie. So there was once, we gave the tone eerie, spooky. Spooky also I think is there in one of our mocks. So disapproving can have various other words. For example, disappointing. If the person is in a self-introspective mood. Self-introspective mood. That means talking about his or her failures, or talking about his or her achievements, or being sad, talking about how life is unfair, then that tone will be melancholic or plaintive. Right? These are another words for criticism. Right? So is this. Now when the criticism turns to making fun, using sarcastic language, using sarcasm, making fun, not just criticizing, making fun. Sarcasm would mean that the author is now using language where the author is mockingly appreciating, but we all know that appreciation means that the author is basically belittling. So in sarcasm, the author says the opposite in a very exaggerated manner. Oh, very nice, you couldn't have done it better. So many people were hungry, so many people were dying, but you did a great job of organizing a fair. This is sarcasm. The facts are saying that people are dying, but we are using words like lovely, great. So this is lampooning or mocking or deriding. So when you make fun, when you use sarcasm, there you use very high language, and therefore these tones are there. In fact, these are the tones where this is used. So in this, sarcasm and satire, the facts are stating the opposite, but the author's language is different, lovely, great, lovely, wonderful, right? So that would be sarcasm and satire. So there, now if you are making fun and showing criticism, then you will say lampooning or deriding. Where you're only talking sarcastically, then it will be sarcasm and satire, ridicule, yes, all of that. Irony and paradox means the passage is showing you two opposite things. In a paradox, where the passage will show you that something happened, the result should have been something else, but it was something else. Whereas an irony would be that a person who did who achieved something did not get any accolades. So irony would be situational. The person who organized the picnic was not able to join it. So situational. Situational contradiction is irony. Whereas predicted result, going away from a predicted result, is paradox. Going away from a predicted result is paradox. All right? These two, the language used will be opposite to the facts. Why is that? So that there is, that you show your contempt. That is done to show the contempt. And finally, objective tones. Fact, informal, formal, conversational, objective, descriptive, these are all the objective tones, where things are written as seen. Author is not attaching any opinion. Nobody's opinion is attached. So you can note these down as well. Right, so I hope you got a great outline of tones today, children. You can watch this video again and note down the tone slowly. You can pause it, etc. And now we will take our discussion forward from here in the classrooms, where whatever you attempt, we can always discuss the tones that you found over there. Best way to do it is now, as you read passages, as you solve questions, your mind tells you, okay, this looks like this tone. But for that to happen, you have to watch this video at least 2 times, if not more. Then the tones will sink in. You will have words for what you are expecting to see. And then when you read, the words will come into your mind. Okay, this is what ma'am said was satire.